Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Spunkify here for MMOBomb.com, and today I'm going to give you my first impressions for Akaneiro Demon Hunter. It's an action RPG that's been developed by Spicy Horse Games, and I'll spend about 15-20 minutes or so checking out the game, making my usual style of commentary. If you guys want to know more about the game, I highly suggest you check down below at MMOBomb.com for the full game profile. So to start with here, the game currently is in open beta. There are still some features that have yet to be implemented, as well as some bug fixing that needs to be done. The open beta is going to be going for about a week, so until about January 16th, and anybody's invited. All you have to do is jump on the website and sign up for an account. After that week, it's going to go into some bug fixing mode for about another week, and then the full game will be released. Now to start off with here, we have 3 different discipline trees. Essentially, these are the classes available to the players. However, it's sort of like Path of Exile, you're not restricted to a particular one. As you continue to level up, you'll gain access to the ability to level up individual disciplines. So you can level your prowess, your fortitude, or your cunning, allowing you to gain access to their particular abilities, armor, or bonuses. That is something that goes along with that class type, or that discipline type rather. I have to get in the habit of saying discipline instead of class. So, for example, the prowess here is more of a power strength sort of character, melee DPS, really fast attacks, has rain of blows as his first ability. Fortitude here is more of a tanky character, uses a two-hander, lot slower attacks but more damage, and also gains access to things like armor buffs, and in this case Iron Thorns, which puts a debuff on anybody who attacks him. And then finally, Cunning here is sort of like the range DPS, much more of the agility based, where they're going to be standing back there and using steady shots, which is a ranged attack, as well as doing things like dueling, increased critical strike chance, etc. Currently, there's only an option of choosing male or female. There's no option to actually create your own individual character, and I suspect that that won't be the case simply for the fact that most action RPGs have a fairly restrictive character creation. You can choose male or female. Sometimes you can choose something like cosmetic, like their hair, their facial structure, but for the most part, it's pretty rigid, and that's due to having to balance what the armor looks like, etc. But I'm going to go ahead and back out here, and as you can see, it gives you a little bit of the update of the open beta on the left. I'm going to choose my character here, which is my prowess character. As you can see, even though I started off with dual wielding, I now have a single sword and a nice little hat. Reminds me of Raiden. Let's go ahead and jump in the game. Now, the game is utilizing the Unity-based engine, and currently it's running in the browser. But besides the browser, upon release, they are going to offer this as a PC download and a Mac download. Now, concurrently, they are also doing a Kickstarter, which is to fund further platform development so they can have access to Android tablets, to iOS tablets like the iPad, as well as Linux support as well. Now, the gameplay itself is very much similar to most action RPGs. You go up to a guy, in this case this man right here, and you select which mission you actually want to start off with. I've already done the beginning 2 missions, and now I'm on the 3rd mission here, which is Raging Ushioni. Now, I will get into this a little bit later, but as far as the gameplay itself goes, one of the more disappointing things I'm going to say right off the bat is the game currently does not feature multiplayer. And you're like, wait, it's an online game, how does it not feature multiplayer? And the fact is, the mode is not enabled. The closest you can come to multiplayer is playing with another individual who is offline. What I mean by that is, as you can see, here are individuals that are offline that I'm able to choose from. When I select an individual here, he essentially gets summoned as an NPC that fights alongside of me in battle. You can't really select more than one. You'd only have one to go with you, and again, this player is not actually there. Now, I talked to the developers about this, and they stated that because of funding needs, etc., the only way they're going to be able to implement multiplayer by release is if they get the Kickstarter goals funded. Now, the Kickstarter, besides of course doing the platforms, funds additional additional options for the game, as well as more content and the multiplayer, which I stated before. We're going to go ahead and jump into this mission right here. So, if you want multiplayer, the game needs to be completely funded through Kickstarter. Now, the game currently has about $51,000 funded, and it has 21 days left to get $200,000 in general. So it certainly could reach that goal, but still, it's a little bit miffing to say that you're not going to get a very basic feature such as multiplayer, which everybody's come to expect. So now that I've jumped in the game here, you can kind of see a little bit more of the art style. The game has a very Okami art style, which the developers are very much aware of. They use that as one of their bases, one of their inspirations for creating the game. And honestly, I think it's a great art style. and it fits the setting well. The game is set in 19th century Japan, where essentially there's like a demon outbreak, and you as a demon hunter must go about killing these demon infested minions and wolves and local inhabitants, etc. It's kind of infested a lot of the local wildlife, and so you're kind of having to deal both with demon infestations on their own and wildlife that's been kind of corrupted essentially. Now as I come around here, I'll go ahead and show you guys some of the abilities. The abilities are a 1, 2, 3, and you actually can tab through 3 separate sets of abilities. So that allows you to kind of have a multitude of abilities available at once rather than just these 3. You can kind of just hit tab here. I only have 3 to begin with right now. You notice 2 of these are my typical sort of prowess, whereas the third one is more of a defense stat one, which gives me sort of like this debuff aura around me that anybody that attacks me deals damage to themselves. So it's kind of like a nice aggressive defensive attribute. And I like the fact that I can just kind of combine these all willy-nilly. I don't actually have to stick with just my one typical ability type. Now I have to say, the game doesn't really seem balanced really well with a companion like this. It doesn't seem to scale, I should say. When I was playing by myself without a companion before I knew about that, it could get fairly difficult at times because there will be enemies who are basically big buffed enemies, you know, like you would expect in action RPGs, additional health, more abilities, etc. And there's packs of those. And that can get a little bit difficult. But with the companions do work. They just completely clean up without any sort of issue. So I find it's been, at least so far in the first 3 missions, you're not going to have any kind of issue. Again, this is maybe more of the fact that this is early on and not late game. But right now, it's not hard at all to maintain your life. You get life by picking up those little crystals, and those crystals are actually the currency as well. They're called karma, and it's what you use to purchase practically everything in the game. In fact, everything in the game is purchased by karma. That goes with gear, weapons, additional abilities, even new areas for you to unlock and explore, areas like this. Now, I will tell you that one of the things that's a little bit troubling is the fact that you can buy in-game currency through the cash shop. So that is one of the options available, is for you to actually buy these shards, so you can have like a bunch of in-game currency really quickly. Now keep in mind, a lot of the good gear is dropped in the game, so you're not going to get like the best gear just by purchasing it from vendors, but you will be able to purchase, you know, as many abilities I guess as you can afford, as well as the fact that you'll be able to unlock certain areas faster. You do have to purchase new areas, new zones with karma, so you will be able to unlock those faster. Now the developers, I have talked to the developers, and they state that they're balancing, their reasoning for that is because you can't actually access new, you can't use new gear, new levels, and new weapons without a certain level requirement, which means you have to play the game. So essentially it's more of a convenience thing. You never have to worry about waiting to grind up to unlock the next thing. You just essentially play the money and get the new area or new ability post haste, you know, kind of like instant gratification. Even though I understand it, I still never been a big fan of actually purchasing currency or having that ability, because it kind of, you know, if they ever were to add in any sort of crafting mechanic, that's currently not available, something that they wish to do, I think, if they can fund Kickstarter. But if they were able to form any kind of like player trading, it would kind of create this imbalance, because players who had the most cash could easily inflate the currency because they can spend the most on the best weapons, and whereas somebody who just plays and doesn't necessarily have enough. Now I will say, if you're just playing for free, the prices for everything are fairly reasonable, and you shouldn't have any trouble gaining enough currency to purchase new abilities, new weapons, etc. at a decent rate. I have not had any issues. I've purchased 2 new abilities, these 2 abilities here, just in the last 2 levels, without you know, having to grind anything. I just basically did the last 2 or 3 levels one time, and was able to purchase that. So I don't really have an issue with the actual amounts that things are balanced by, just simply the fact that it may cause imbalances in the future. So where am I supposed to go here? Maybe over here. I need to kill 2 to 3 Amano captains. I don't know where the other one is. Now you gain experience and shards throughout the mission itself, throughout the actual zone, but you also gain it for completing it. You get a little additional bonus. Alright, so I can go ahead and put this little shield on me. Go ahead and pick up those items itself. I will say the gameplay is very smooth, and the graphics look, like I said before, very nice. the outside of doing this, going through this game, there is no PvP. So like I said, there's no multiplayer aspect to the game. I will also mention that, where am I supposed to go? I have no idea. I don't know where this last Amano captain is. Amano. Maybe over here. I don't think I've gone over here yet. I will also mention that the idea of having an action RPG like this, of this quality, on something like an iPad, and if you could actually play with people who are on PC, is a very nice and entertaining idea. I do like that ability, if they could actually implement that and port that well. Let's go ahead and pick those. You can actually transmute items that you've gotten in the field for additional karma, so you can actually gain a little bit more currency that way. You don't get quite as much by selling it versus selling it actually in a store in the town itself, but it's sort of, if you need to fill up or free up rather your inventory, you can do so. I couldn't get to that guy. He was like stuck in that corner. Alrighty here. So if you look at my items real quickly, I can hit I, almost full here. Do I have any better items I can equip? Small boost to total energy. This is level 3. I'm assuming that's slightly better because it's level 3, but there's no armor values, anything shown. That is level 4 as well, level 5. So looks like I can put on some better pants. Nicely. So you did quite a lot. A lot of it is pretty rubbish, though. It's pretty much the same. Right click to equip. How do I transmute an item? Can I just click it and transmute? Did I drop it on there? Ah, so you drop it on there. I would like to click a bunch of them at once and just have them all okay, that's still 2, right? Yeah, okay. And have them all transmuted, because I can see doing this over and over really started to grind on people. Alright, let's grab that, and I'll put that on mail. It's better. Is that better? Nope, but I'm probably sure it looks better, just like cosmetically. Make everything look the same. Alright. I do like the fact that they mentioned that you basically can use whatever you like as far as cosmetics. They don't want you to all look the same. They want to give everybody the freedom of having the same stats, but on different looking items, so you can really create your own unique look to the character. And I really like the fact that they've gone and put a lot of effort into differentiating characters, because that's one thing action RPGs always seem to suffer from, is the fact that everybody looks the same essentially. So it looks like, okay, so maybe over here is where I had missed out on. There's like a whole group of them down here. Alright, let's come down here. But multiplayer is something that it just needs. Like, it just outright needs. I mean, there's certainly those that don't mind having no multiplayer, but I always have the most fun playing these sorts of games with other people, and there's not really even an option to talk to other people in game. Now there is you can't see this, but there's a chat client in the browser-based version of the game right now, so I can actually talk to people right there if I wish, but nothing actually in game. There's no lobby-based or area that's centralized that everybody can talk at one time and even see each other's characters. Which brings up the next thing: how do they plan on making money if they're just actually purchasing karma, or allowing players to purchase karma? You would think that they would also allow cosmetic items, but if there's no multiplayer, why would you buy cosmetic items if no one else can see what you look like? The whole purpose, the whole idea of buying cosmetic items is to show off how badass you look, how cool you look. So it just kind of seems like it would be self-defeating if they didn't add that aspect in. Alright, so I have to gain access to this camp. I'm not quite sure how to do so. Kill that guy. I wish it would give me a little bit more information, because this is let's pull up the map here. I mean, you can see it gives me a little of an overview map, very Diablo 2-esque, where you can go around and kind of see where you've been, etc. But it doesn't tell me which direction I need to be heading. So in this case, I've gone and explored through this. I didn't kill enough of these guys at once, so I had to backtrack, find where I needed to go. And I would assume now I have to go forward if the map layout has been done correctly, because that's essentially where the new areas are. So let's go ahead and come back up here. Would I play this in my free time? Yeah, I certainly would. The gameplay is very crisp, the mechanics are very, solid, along with the actual animations themselves. Nothing feels delayed. You know, for an action RPG where you're clicking, you know, I'm sure you can hear me left clicking so much. You know, you want your attacks and your special abilities to feel satisfying. That way you don't feel like you're just using really crummy abilities over and over and over. And I really like the fact that you can customize all the abilities that you have at your disposal, which means that you can have a jack of all trades sort of build, or you can really focus on one particular thing. And I think that would be great if PvP was implemented at some point, because that really would tie in well with that. But I think that is a tall order at this point, given the fact that it all hinges on whether or not Kickstarter gets funded. Here we go. So this is like the camp where it looks like I gotta go. So as you can see, there is a Bloodfang Emissary who's sort of a wanted character. He is the boss of sorts that you have to beat. Oh god, maybe the mini boss maybe. So I've killed him, but now there's this giant Ushioni guy. Let's go ahead and use my special abilities here. And as you can see, by myself, I can see this being somewhat difficult. In fact, only against this guy is it somewhat a little bit hard. But even then, I'm just gonna, you know, kill these a little bit, get some additional HP. The other guy is tanking it, no problem. And I'm just gonna kill this guy easily. Now, I would assume it would be much harder if they could balance it a little bit better, so that the enemies, their damage increased at higher levels, or rather, when you added someone into your party like this. So let's look. Did I get anything interesting in my inventory? Does not look like it. Too bad I'm not level 4. Oh, that looks pretty cool. I got a little wolf on my head. That's cute. Alright, so this sword is better. Let's go ahead and swap that out there. I can transmute that for additional currency. I really wish there was an option just like sell all whites. You know, if you could do that, I think that would be quite great. And I'm not going to go. I like the fact that this has a more balanced overall damage. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is the fact that if I go back here really quickly, here we go, we're going to get our tallied up. And as you can see, not quite level 4, but I got a total experience with the mission earnings and the high threat bonus. Now, the high threat is something that I was going to mention. When you go and you look at the missions here, why can't I move? There we go. When you go and you look at the missions here, they have these threat levels. And the best way to describe these threat levels would be if you played any kind of dungeon-based MMO where you have the different difficulty levels. You have, you know, normal, hardcore, nightmare, you know, hellish, etc. These, though, are dynamic. You don't really choose what level you want to play it at. When you defeat a level, it goes down to no threat. This is because you've basically cleared that area of any kind of rotten evildoers. Now, the longer you go, you know, playing different missions, the higher the threat will go back up. So these missions, which I played earlier, are now at medium threat once more. What this does is, when you're at higher threats, you get more experience, but you don't get as good a loot. When they're at lower threats like this, you don't get as much experience, but you get better loot. So it kind of creates this interesting balance where you don't always go for the higher difficulties if you're trying to do a certain thing. If you want to have additional currency, you're going to go, or additional experience, you're going to go for the higher ones. If you want better loot, you're going to go for the lower ones. And there's actually a global, if we go back here really quick, there's this global sort of meter here. And as it kind of goes from one side to the other, this affects all of these in general, what type of loot they drop, or how difficult the missions are overall. So I think that's a really interesting twist to the whole action RPG, you know, difficulty mechanics. So here's where you actually buy your abilities. As you can see, I had about 200, now I have 1188. Perfectly able to purchase the next ability if I so choose, which is Swath of Destruction, or I can go to Fortitude or Cunning and purchase these abilities, you know, making sure, of course, I have the appropriate level of those disciplines to actually utilize those abilities, because I can purchase it but not have the actual level. Besides that, I can then purchase also the aspects or traits of the other discipline trees and armor mastery as well. So if I wanted to have heavy armor, I could purchase this for 1,000, the option to wear heavy armor. So you can wear whatever you want. You could be a tanky archer. You can do whatever. I'm not really sure as to what benefits heavy versus light. Would you always want to wear heavy, or does it slow you down, etc.? I don't know if there's like a plus or minus con pro system to each one. I would assume so, otherwise why wouldn't you just go with heavy armor? Backing out of here, though, we can come over here. This is another unique little thing that very much reminds me of Okami, is the fact that you can buy these sort of spirit helpers. These things will follow you around for about 30 minutes, and they will increase certain attributes. So this one increases my power, whereas this one increases my skill. I'm going to go ahead and purchase one of these, and you'll notice here, it's just a cute little doggy that just walks around and actually follows me around. I think it's pretty awesome. So there's an item shop here where you can, again, purchase new weapons. These weapons themselves are not going to be the best, obviously. These are just kind of generic weapons until you find better weapons at higher levels. So, see, now this is much easier. Just right-clicking on this instead of the whole transmute business. Just clear up these areas quite nicely. Go ahead and keep that one. I'm just going to... Oh, actually, pretty good pants. Slight boost to karma shard value. So the weapons and the armor do have these sort of like unique aspects to them where they'll have these bonus attributes. This one's small boost to attack damage. I've seen some that give, you know, health, stealing health on attack, that kind of stuff. So you're not just limited to just straight bonuses like bonus to critical, bonus to power, etc. Let's see here. Have I done? Yeah, let's go ahead and... Oh, I shouldn't have sold that one. Whatever. Alright, I've gotten that. Let's go ahead and exit out. And now I can equip those pants. So now I've got some green pants and it's changed my look. And you also can buy, you know, things like food, you know, which I believe gives you bonuses, etc. Spicy sushi, which I don't know what that does, but sure. Why don't we buy some spicy sushi? Let's go ahead and exit out of this. They really do a good job of making you feel as if maybe that's like to assist you, you know, in case you're low HP and you need HP to continue. They really do a good job of setting the tone and the environment, rather. Everything looks very lively and something you would imagine in 19th century Japan. It's not so much magical. The magical properties are the demons essentially that inhabit the world that you're fighting against. The world itself isn't just filled with magic. So in order for me to unlock this, I have to unlock it for 2,400, which I don't have. I only have 1,200. So I will have to go back and do these other missions a few more times. Now, because of the fact that these are now medium threat, if I go back to these here, I will have a higher difficulty because they're not lower like the other ones. And when they switch difficulties, they usually switch paths as well as switch the attributes of them. What I mean by that is there will be different enemies I will fight, different bosses, etc. So I won't just be fighting the same enemies in the same places every time. Now this may be a little bit different for the fact that this is the early, you know, first level here, but I will say the last time I did this, I was fighting demon wolves again. So this hasn't changed so much. Perhaps the actual mini bosses or bosses themselves will be what's different. They also said that there will be different pathways, and I don't know if that's so much of a dynamic sort of, you know, procedurally generated level with the tile system, or if it actually is preset environments that it just cycles out depending on what level you're playing at. But needless to say, you know, the gameplay is quite good, and I just really fish. I mean, look how many guys. Can you imagine doing this by yourself sometimes? Sometimes you get those crazy combinations of individuals with just tons of them, and they do a lot of damage. But luckily, you know, since you pretty much gain HP every time you kill a guy, you level up, or rather you stay at a pretty high HP fairly quickly and for a fairly long amount of time. I think the only time I dipped somewhat low was fighting the boss on this level, and that was just because I was tanking pretty much every mob in front of me. Oh, it looks like a new chest. Can I use that chest? That does look nice. So a small boost to total health. So as you can see, I'm getting a little bit... Oh, it's got like a little aura around it too. So that's really a cool certain aspect. You know, your items actually affect what you look like in terms of not just cosmetically, but, you know, auras or any kind of, you know, interesting little hues, etc. So I think that's quite a cool addition. What do we got there? A spy mask and... what does a spy mask look like? Requires level 5. Oh. But again, I like the fact that I have all access to these really cool and unique looking items. I can be what I want to be. I can be the very best, like no one ever was. All right, so let's go ahead and kill these guys. Go and pick those guys up. It'd be really awesome if the little wolf fought with me. But I just like, you know, its companionship. You know, just the fact that it runs around with me. I would like the ability to purchase a permanent one rather than just always purchasing it for 30 minutes. You know, of course, you could pay a lot more rather than just 250, and perhaps maybe even at higher levels you could have the option of doing that. But right now, you only have the option of purchasing it for 30 minutes. But they're just so darn cute. All right. Let's go ahead. So it looks like here, in this case, there was a sort of like god or deity that was a wolf, or it was in a wolf form, and it was killed and desecrated, which has created sort of this corruption, which has corrupted the inhabiting wolves in this area. But as you can see, I did this alone, and it was quite difficult alone. But as a group, I'm not having any much of a hard time at all. This isn't the hardest difficulty, obviously, and I don't really know how to unlock the hardest difficulty because it seems like it's been locked out with the some kind of prerequisite or something. But I can't imagine it being that much harder than this currently, especially the fact that I have this ally with me. Now there is another guy in there, and this is one of the beta aspects. I can't actually get to him, unfortunately, but that's all right. My AI can, my AI companion. And although I won't be able to get that, it's fine. I think I have enough now to actually purchase what I need. So I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to be able to go that way at some point, but I'm not sure how I'm quite supposed to get there. Let's see if we can find ourselves another direction to head in. Oh, looks like we came in that way. Well, maybe I can't go over there. I don't know. This is like a subterranean level, looks like. So coming back out here, oh, looks like there was a new area to come through. So maybe I got tied up there. I thought I was headed back out the same way I came in. Alright, so here's a boss of sorts. And again, fairly evil Vile Tongue. Pretty easy to kill with 2 people there. I mean, my other character, the other guy, took the brunt of the damage. But for me, it was quite easy to take out. And he actually did his own, you know, he did work it by himself as well. Alright, so let's go and kill that. Now, I will say that this character does benefit from actually being in this party with me. He isn't just relegated to just being like an assistant. He'll log on and have some additional loot or some additional levels or something like that, some sort of bonus for being in this with me, which is a nice addition. It means you're always progressing even when you're offline. I really am a fan of systems like that because not everybody has time to play non-stop. Alright, so can I use this now? Nope. Level 4. I can get a small boost, but the other one's better. I would assume so. I really wish it would tell me exactly what I have access to, like how much of a boost it is, like stat figures. I'm sure maybe if I hit C and brought up my stats, I'd be able to see that. But I would like for the items themselves to just display that, obviously. That's kind of like a basic feature. Otherwise, the mechanics themselves, the combat, the sounds, they're all very nice. And for something that wants to be on pretty much every platform, it's a fairly ambitious game, you know. It wants to basically have everybody playing the same game with all these really unique, interesting features, etc. Alright, let's go ahead and kill these guys. I did notice when I was playing a little bit of the range class, it can be a tad bit difficult to actually... I just killed the guy really easy. It can be a tad bit difficult to aim just because I think of the angle. So I don't know how well they could actually improve that, but it does take some getting used to at least. Melee, I haven't had any issues with that at all. But any sort of range ability has been somewhat hard to aim at times. There's one guy left over here. Where'd my companion go? Oh, shouldn't you be killing him? He's like in a wall or something. Alright. So I've killed this guy I'm stuck in a treasure chest. Equius. Is that you or is that someone else? Maybe that's someone else. Maybe there is a chat. Apparently there is a chat. I just never knew it because no one was actually talking on it. Let's bring open the map again, see if we can figure out exactly where we need to go. Occasionally you'll find those hitches where you can't get up to a certain area. Alrighty here. Now, if I wanted to, I could back out of the mission right now, but I would lose all of the rewards I currently have, which of course I don't want to do that. So unfortunately, if you get stuck in this area and you're like, well, I have all the shards I need, I just want to go back, you're going to have to like find your way to the particular area that you need to fight someone, hunt down Poxfinger apparently, and take that individual out before you can actually progress, because there's no way. You have to actually have the little green gem on your screen. Looks like maybe over here. Let's go ahead and kill those guys. I do like the fact that there's these random sort of instances that you can go in, which have more guys to fight, so you're not just in this one large area. And each of these have a sort of broken up different style to them. Like this one's a building. Looks like I finally killed him. All right, there we go. So now I can go back through this. But all right. And it looks like I was able to get level 4. So that's one other thing. It doesn't really tell you your progression until after you've actually gotten out of the game, which can be somewhat annoying because you don't know how far you're progressing or how much experience you're actually getting in terms of what you need, because I haven't seen any kind of progression bar. That may just be me not being able to see it, but it hasn't been anywhat visible on the screen except for post-mission. So alrighty here, I've leveled up again, as you can see, and now I can actually choose which one I want to go into. So this would be my skill increase, all cunning, all fortitude, and all prowess abilities receive a bonus. So in this case, I'm going to go with more prowess. So let's go ahead and hit next here. And as you can see, it gives me the actual stat bonuses themselves, as well as how much extra HP I got, which I like that breakdown. It's very nice. But alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and end that gameplay for now, in the first look for now. Go ahead and unlock this new area here. 3 missions, increase max character level to 8. So you actually have to unlock these missions to increase the level cap to a certain point. I believe each level gives you about 3 or 4 levels, and then you must progress onto the new area and progress your levels there. So you do have to purchase that. You can't just grind in one area over and over and over. It looks like you will indeed have to continue on progressing individually before you can individually meeting individual areas before you can actually move on to the next. Alright, but anyways, this has been Smokify. I'll see you guys for the next first look here on MMOBomb. Smokify out. Later, guys.